Welcome everybody, my name is Ryan and we are back with more Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead. This is episode 10 of the tutorial series and we're here with the character Antoine Rock. There he is. We've got our key viz available, so hopefully you'll be able to see my keystrokes as I make them. And of course we've made several adjustments to the font. The size of the minimap here is so important for being out in the world. And speaking of which, you can see we have set up a little base here at an airstrip. It was a fairly lucky find. There's not a lot around, but we were able to clear it. Believe it or not, there's actually a helicopter here too, but several other vehicles. So unfortunately, with the character's background that we have, or lacking, the background that we're lacking, we can't fly the helicopter, but we can definitely work on some of the vehicles here. Currently, we've been driving around in this mean looking tractor. Yeah, and it served us quite well, but it does take a bit of fuel. We're at 54%, it's diesel, so I'd like to maybe extract an engine or strip one of these vehicles and work it, into something more apocalypse ready, so to speak. One of my personal favorite things about the game is working on the vehicles, and you can do all kinds of stuff. You could literally build a vehicle from the ground up, just from metal and parts and stuff. But let's get into today's episode. We're going to check out the map again. Before we hunker down and start working on the cars, there's a few things I'd like to grab, and I'm hoping that this is an intact evac shelter with a solar panel. We really need to get a solar panel or two, so that would be fantastic. We're going to hit up that location. It's just afternoon, so we're good to go. We do have a decent amount of food if we step over by our pile. I've also got a diesel generator, so that's going to be new. When it comes time, we'll probably siphon the fuel out of our tractor and fill it with this, but we'll come to that bridge and cross it at the appropriate time, because our arc welder here will take quite a bit of electricity as we're working on our vehicle. But like I said, food wise, let's have a bit of a bite to eat because we are very hungry. I'm just going to go down the list. Of course, it does seem to, it sorts it by shelf life. So in a lot of ways, you are best eating from the top of the list there, unless for whatever reason, maybe you've changed that in settings. But we're going to have some jerky, chips, things like pineapple juice will give us a good calorie kick. All right, there we go. I always feed my character until I get the notification that, we've ate a little bit too much. We've engorged ourselves. Not quite, though. Not quite. If you do eat too much, you can actually put yourself in pain. So you want to kind of avoid that. All right, let's also, before we head out, take note of our physical situation. We are somewhat injured, pretty much across the board almost. Our right left leg is injured, our arms are injured, and most importantly, the torso and head. I think I've mentioned it, but if your torso or if your head lose all their green bars, your character will die. You can break an arm or a leg, lose all the bars, and recuperate just fine, but not from the loss of a head or a torso, so just keep that in mind. Now, like I said, let's hop on the old tractor. Starts up, old reliable. That's what this thing should be called for sure. Let's go ahead and set ourselves in the right direction. Check out that evac shelter as our very first stop. And we have arrived. Let's go ahead and zoom in. I like to straighten the vehicle out, so it's not sitting in some weird crooked fashion. So I'll slow it down to 4 and then we'll turn, straighten it up. There we go. Now we can go ahead and stop and kill the engine. Wonderful. Step off here, and just from looking at the evac shelter, I can tell it's in fairly good shape. It's boarded up. Hopefully there's no enemies, but also make sure to check the map when you get close, because oftentimes there are NPCs holed up in these shelters, and this one happens to be a neutral. You can tell that because of the color. This purplish color, it indicates that they're not going to be shoot on sight. They're not going to be instantly hostile. If it was a bright red, then they would be. They would also say something like bandit or raider probably, and they would trigger your safe mode. But let's just come on in here. This person probably be a little bit hostile, but yeah, they're almost certainly going to have a quest for us too. Yeah, see, she's yells at us right away. What's the matter? I'm asthmatic. Oh, okay, this is a good one. This is great. So this person, yeah, they just have a simple request, an inhaler. And these are fairly common throughout the world. You'll find inhalers quite a bit, just ran at all kinds of different locations on zombie corpses. So let's say we'll accept it. Now we can go through some other dialogue. Can we share equipment? There's chances based on our social here, percent chances. We can even try things like intimidating or lying to them. Again, a lot of this will be affected by the way you've created your character. You know, there's even a trait where you can't lie. You know, you have 0% chance at lying every time. But what we'll do is we're just going to say, never mind for now. We're really here for the solar panel, don't forget that. But let's close the door behind us, and I guess we'll turn on our flashlight for good visibility. There we go. Yeah, there's almost certainly some protein rations. But like I said, I'm going to stay focused on the upstairs. Here we go. All right, wonderful. The doors to the roof are almost always locked. Let's check here. What are we using for a blunt weapon? Currently nothing really, so I'm going to walk over here. I just noticed this stick. Yeah, so we'll grab the stick and wield it with W. There we go, it's in our hand. Now if I bash, it's going to give us a little bit better damage than if we just shoulder checked it, essentially. Looks like Matilda is getting a little bit scared of the noise, but I think we'll be okay. Yeah, it is pretty loud. Sorry about that. I've forgotten just how loud it can be at its base level here. That's maybe a little bit better. It still sounds like Bigfoot trying to get in here. And of course, I've got to pay attention to my stamina while I'm doing this. So we'll just take a short break, catch our breath, and then we'll proceed to finish to smash. There we go. And I'll drop the stick because I don't have any more need for it. We should walk, and hopefully I'll be able to get up this one without, you know, I can tell it didn't shatter the roof this time, so we should be good. There we go. Oh, yes, we've made it to the roof. Evac shelters, I mean, I would go so far as to say are almost always guaranteed to have one solar panel on them. At least, maybe sometimes you'll find two, but I always find them. As long as there's a staircase to the roof and you can access it, here it is. And it is already set up. So in order to take it down, there's a couple of commands. First, we need, I can't just pick it up. There's a stick next to me. If I hit G to grab, there's nothing there. I should say G to pick up because the uppercase G is the actual grab, and that won't work either. We want to hit E to connect. It's kind of funny, counterintuitive, but you want to connect it to the array grid. Yes. Now you hit E again to open up this menu. This is like the solar panel menu. Once shows you the output and flow here and stuff, but it also gives us the option to take it down, and we want to confirm that. So there's kind of a two-step process, and it will require tools. Again, you know, I believe it takes small screwing 2, or fine bolt turning 2, I mean, or 1 possibly. Either way, we did have it covered by our wrenches, and if I hadn't, it would have told me that. Let's see, while we're in our inventory, let's turn off our flashlight real quick. There we go. And now it's at my feet. I can use the G button. It's too big to fit in my pocket, so we're just going to wield it with our hands, so you can't actually see it like you did with the stick moments ago in my hands, but it's there. Before we go down, let's slip over here. A lot of times these water tanks have a good quantity of clean water. Just make sure it says clean. If it doesn't say clean, don't drink it. Put it in a container and purify it if you have to, but we could have a little sip here. It's always nice. All right. Some delicious roof water, untouched by the foulness of the first floor. But we will come back with an inhaler. Yeah, we don't have one on us currently, unless it's in my bottle there with the hidden items. No, I don't think so. I think that's welding wire. Okay, we'll have to extract that when we get back to camp, but we have done it. So we need to get it home now. And again, yeah, there's probably some protein rations, maybe even some interesting stuff in the basement. You know what? I've just talked myself into searching the entire place, especially the basement. We could come across some medicine or something down below. So let's do that. Quick sweep. Should be safe with the NPC in here. I'm relying on the fact that there's no zombies. These are good for trading, believe it or not. This two-way radio has a really nice weight to trade value, so it's less than a pound, and it's got a barter value of 750. Not going to pick it up, but another thing I've been told is that if you can recruit a NPC companion, like if we were to get this lady an inhaler, get her to join us and give her a two-way radio, we have one, we can communicate over distance. I've not tested that myself, but I think what it does is it just opens up like the chat windows there at distance, so you can give them orders and commands. And equally, these things are very fun and handy, and another really good trade item with a low weight to high barter value. We're not going to pick them up at the moment. I think we already do have a deck of cards for our own enjoyment purposes, which I recommend. Let's see. I like the cards because they have a very low weight. They aren't worth much in terms of a trade, so you don't really keep them for trading, but they're good for raising your morale and your focus, and you can play them with your friends. All right, let's go through and take a look. Here we go. Hidden items. Oh, this is what I was hoping for. We've got bandages, gauze, ibuprofen. Say, I'm going to take the saline solution too, just in case we get something splashed in our eyes. It'll come in handy. But everything else is very self-explanatory. The antiseptic is a good find for sure. Now, I'm actually tempted to take this gallon jug, empty it of bleach, and maybe fill it with the water on the roof, but let's just keep looking. Maybe I don't want to fill my pockets with a gallon jug just yet. Could be something else interesting down here. All right, the bathrooms, don't overlook them. Also, never overlook the trash cans. Do we have a towel? I do not believe we have a towel yet. Yeah. We do definitely live by the rules of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You always want to carry a towel during your travels here in this dangerous world. You never know when you'll need one, but in all seriousness, you can activate a towel to wipe yourself off. You can see I just did it, but it says you're already dry. If we hit Shift+2, the @ symbol, under effects, if you're wet from sweating or from rain, it'll tell you that in this one. And it actually does hurt your mood a little bit being wet. So if you're trying to get every ounce of morale out of your character, just towel yourself off. Make sure you're nice and dry. Nobody likes sitting in wet clothing. All right, so flashlight, whistle. I guess I'll grab the rations. Ooh, I will take the lighter. All right. Nothing too astounding here, but like I said, it's definitely worth the search. The ground level is probably just going to be a bunch of rations. So let's head on out with promises to return, and hopefully with an inhaler. Maybe not, hopefully also not with a zombie horde, on our backs. But I went ahead and grabbed the solar panel. If we check inventory, it is now being held, and I don't think I would be able to drop it. If I try to drop it, yeah, it won't. It's what happens if if I hit Shift P and open up the full dialogue, it says at this line in purple, unable to fit the solar panel. And so what happened is we tried to drop it, but then it wouldn't fit, so we picked it back up. That's why it says you wield it and you grit your teeth and prepare for a good fight. Whenever you pick up like a weapon or anything which is wielded, like the solar panel, it gives you this little flavor text here, basically. I think that's also indicating which stance we're in, too. If I had, for instance, learned a martial art and it said karate, that little flavor text would probably say something about like a karate stance, I believe. In case you were wondering, yes, the character is able to drive with the solar panel held in their hands. I guess we're just imagining that the panel is sitting in his lap as he's like hunched over it, trying to grab the steering wheel of the tractor, trying not to, slip off while he's driving. Anyway, it's in there. We're fine. But we're going to test his limits here because I want to hop off, and yeah, it's got a decent battery. So we want to grab this. I'm going to navigate my little cursor to the position where the battery is. Typically in a diesel or gas like this, the engine's in the front. Not always though. There it is. And typically the battery is always installed in the engine square. So we'll grab that. I don't really need anything else. All the stuff on here is pretty mundane. It's not like a military vehicle, so it's not equipped with any plating or anything. What I'm going to do is drop the panel momentarily. So I picked up the battery. It's in my hands. I'm going to drop that into the tractor seat, and that does fit. Car battery will fit, so we'll just grab the solar panel again. We definitely don't want to leave it, but now we've got a good combo. A solar panel and a battery, that's a wonderful find. So I just started driving from this position. I was going to come up here and check out the irradiation plant. That's what this is. It's an area where they preserve fruits and veggies. A building. It's dangerous, but it's also potentially got a lot of food and some vehicles in the parking lot. So it is like a neighbor to us. I don't think it's close enough in the reality bubble, but meaning, if we're spending time here at our little base camp, zombies and stuff in this location won't wander over to us. It's far enough away that won't happen, but I still think we can probably investigate the parking lot. So let's continue to drive. Did we grab the wheel? All right, we did. Let's hit the accelerator, and we'll take the trip here together for a little ways. You might notice things are a bit smoother as I'm driving. I did actually purchase a new PC and got a nice upgrade, so shockingly, it had an effect on Cataclysm too. The game runs much smoother now, so... Okay, we're going the wrong direction, but this looks like it ends in a dirt road. That's interesting. I'm curious about that. We might check that out. Ooh. Hazmat zombie. Yeah, let's stop driving. Let's hit the M. Where's the hazmat zombie? I can see it's up here. If I zoom to it. Oh. Okay, it hasn't been marked yet on the map with our auto notes feature, but I recognize what this is. This is a mass grave. So there's going to be more than one zombie there. We could drive by. Since we've got a vehicle, we could slip past it. If I turn on the gas, turn up the accelerator, get up to like 16, we could drive through. The problem is the zombie horde will be pulled with us for a ways. Eventually we'll lose the horde and they'll stop, but they'll be blocking our exit. And if we look at the map, this is not clear here. This is a forest, and I probably couldn't get through there with the tractor. And backtracking could be a real issue. One thing I am curious about, though, one technique I should say we could use is to go north of the grave here. Maybe we can pull the zombies far enough in this direction, out this way, that we can then double back and slip in behind them. Again, a bit more of an advanced technique. If you're new, at this point, you might just want to turn around and explore that dirt road. But I'm going to slow it down here. Actually stop for a moment. Let those hazmats, that's a big horde, though. We do not want to get overwhelmed by that. But see, in a moment's notice, I can just kick the accelerator up. If we turn wide enough, let me look at, yeah, we can go through this little grassy field here, and we'll turn back around, connect with the road again. Now, let's see. The turkeys are to the south. There's still a few zombies. Yeah, it's not going to be totally clear when we come back through here, but it's definitely a better situation. So let's kick up the speed this way. But I'm really hoping to find her more batteries, to be honest. Another solar panel or two would be great, but I don't know if that's going to be something we find at an irradiation plant necessarily. Could be if we get lucky and find like an electric vehicle, but, well, shockingly, there's no vehicles. This parking lot often does have like a couple of cars parked and whatnot, but dang it, nothing. This is a large interior garage, which could have some interesting stuff, but the thing about the irradiation plants is they are dangerous. They're using actual radioactivity to preserve these foods somehow. I don't know how that process works, but they know it's dangerous, and even in the good times before the apocalypse, it was not easy to access that facility. You actually need certain kinds of cards. Do we have any? We don't have any science IDs. We would need little cards to slide at these readers to get through to the door. So it's most likely we couldn't even actually thoroughly loot that place at this point. We'll need to return. And, ooh, there's soldier zombies ahead of us. Oh, yeah. Look at this horde flashing. I don't know if my little diversionary technique there worked too well, but I'm going to head south, keep a close hold on the side of this road. Yeah, I'm just going to hug the curb and just go, go, go. All right, we're not returning to that place, so let's investigate this dirt road. Oh, it is a farm. Okay. Okay, there's a silo there. That's good. We've seen silos are really, really helpful for getting a good view of our surroundings, but unfortunately, we did just spot a zombie, too. I don't know if I want to get out right now. Hold on, yeah, there is a zombie behind me. It's just one. It's undamaged, but this could be a really good place for us to loot. So let's try and take it on. If it's just the one, we'll hop off. So we'll keep the engine running, I think. Wait a second. Hold on. I don't actually have a weapon, do I? Turn that off. Yeah, on second thought, no. I never made myself a spear before we left, and I'm holding a solar panel in my hand. So, you know what? Combat is not a good idea. We will turn around and return to this area to explore it later. That's right. But that could be a really fruitful spot. There's a couple of houses. There's a still right there. Yeah, the farm. And the dirt road continues too farther down. Farms are often good. I mean, we actually did spot some livestock there too, sheep and whatnot. Could be used for, recipes and stuff down the road. But for right now, we will return to our base, knowing that we've definitely got some interesting spots to check out here. And even this road continues southward. But I want to get back home and really hunker down, try and work on a more reliable and less gas-guzzling vehicle. Okie dokie, we are back here at the airstrip. I want to pull up close enough to this generator here without destroying my tools. Like that. That's a little close, but I'm also going to park it at a funky angle here and stop driving. There we go. This will allow me to siphon the diesel a little bit, at least from here to there, to fill this thing up. Then I can just kind of back this thing away, or maybe we'll strip it completely. But when you're working on vehicles, if you're going to do a switch over like I plan to, make sure that you leave yourself a functional vehicle, while you're in the process. At least even if you strip part of it, make sure you can still drive it. It's helpful to have a quick getaway, or if you run low on resources, you might want to do a quick scavenger hunt. But regardless, now we're close. Do I need a hose? I'm not sure. Since it's actually this close, I might not need a hose. Let's inspect the vehicle real quick. Examine. I'm going to go, the siphon option under S is grayed out. Even though they're right next to each other, we still need a hose for it, which makes sense. So, yeah, that's okay. I don't have a hose yet. There could be one in here. Well, either way, what I'll do is I'll probably have to dismantle, a refrigerator or something. But before we do any of that, it is really smart to go ahead and get our solar panel and batteries connected. So we still have the solar panel in our hands. I'm going to hit Shift+8 to open up the construction menu. We'll place the panel one square to our left. There it is. So it is now deployed, but it doesn't have any battery hooked up to it. So it's not outputting its power into anything currently. So let's go back to construction with Shift+8, and we'll place the car battery. There we go. So actually the battery is now in between the generator and this. So it should be receiving power from both, I believe, theoretically. Yeah. So it shows solar power is coming in. It's got actually a nice charge on it coming in. And it shows the reactor power, but there's nothing because we haven't filled it and turned it on yet. So that's working perfectly. Good system. Let's see. I think, do I have a second battery? No, just the arc welder. All right, we just have the one battery. It's not much, but the capability of the battery itself does make a difference. If I examine the system again, yeah, 444 of 3,000. So even if this thing's fully charged, it's going to only be able to do one or two, passes, so to speak, with the arc welder. For instance, let's look at our tractor as an example of what I'm talking about. If we examine this, and let's say hypothetically I wanted to install a cargo space in this particular spot, I would hit I, and for hypothetical sake here, let's just look up cargo. Boom. So the cargo space is now highlighted, and you can see it's telling me with the arc welder, ignore all the other stuff we don't have, just electricity, I literally need 4,800 charges. So I couldn't even do this procedure with the arc welder because the battery capacity is too low. Now, granted, installing a cargo space is one of the most draining steps, so there's a lot of other things I could do with just a single battery, but it's not ideal. Obviously, I want to install some cargo spaces. There's some right here in this truck, or this van, or whatever it is. Yeah, we've got some cargo spaces right here, and they're not in great shape, but we should be able to remove them. Oh, I need my tool with metal sawing. Let's come back over to our pile, because I think we did get a hacksaw. Let's see, yeah, there we go. We do have a hacksaw. I'm going to go ahead and favorite this and pick it up. Let's also grab our baton too, so we're just not totally without a weapon, I should say. All right, that's better. So, first step, we will go ahead and remove these cargo spaces. And what's funny too is there's like 4 or 5 vehicles all around us in this airport, but the batteries on them are all garbage. This one's draining, so I definitely don't want to hook this one up to our system for sure. But we will extract the cargo space. So, just as a little tutorial here for removing things, it's similar to installing it. You need to find the position of the car that you want to extract from, which is this one. Then we hit O. To remove, we select the item, and it'll tell us the requirements, whether it's attributes, maybe I have a tool with lifting, of course the tools themselves, and we can do it. There we go. Brings us right back to the screen. It's very helpful for removing multiple pieces like I'm going to do with this cargo space, but it definitely does pass time, so keep that in mind. It's easy to get lost in just working on a vehicle like for hours and hours, and you look up and your character's like dehydrated and completely unhappy. I've had it happen to me. So let's take one last look at this for now. That's actually, it only had the 2 cargo spaces. The rest are just seats in the front. So yeah, for now, that's all we want. There they are. They're pretty large items. I'm not going to be able to move these cargo carriers. So I'm just going to move everything, including the nuts and bolts, the wheel. Maybe we'll use that. I don't think so, but we'll just bring all this stuff over to our pile with the / haul everything command. It's good to just have it all piled up in one spot. There we go. All right. And we did get this engine, didn't we? What is this? Oh, V6. That could be fun if we try and build something from the ground up. But, I had a thought while we were talking about batteries. I mentioned the helicopter. Let's go look at it real quick. Does it have a battery? Because I've already forgotten. Oh, yeah, it does. It's got 2. One of them's pretty puny, but the medium storage battery has 10,000 capacity, and it's got half a charge on it. Oh, yeah, we're taking that out. Okay, so that's the little battery. I'll grab that too. Yeah, I'm not worried. Again, we can't fly this without a specific background. Even if I got in the pilot seat at this point and tried it, I think it should be like actually able to start up. Let's try it. It's faulty. The engine's faulty actually. Yeah, but even if the engine started and I tried to rise, it wouldn't work. I've tried it before. It'll tell you don't have the right license or knowledge of it. So, and as far as I know, there's no books in the game that will teach you the skill of helicopter flight. I might be mistaken about that, but I've never come across one. Let's grab the medium storage. That's a huge find. So yeah, let's move these back over to our campsite. I don't think there is a hose anywhere in here, even if I were to start smashing things. These vending machines would probably be my best bet, but no hose for siphoning. Oh well, it's not necessary since we did get that solar panel, but more solar panels would be better, obviously. And eventually we'll come across a hose. They're fairly common, especially as we drive around the roads. We'll check trunks and stuff. Yeah, we'll probably find one over here, but in absence of that little task, another trick I'm going to show you, since we're kind of setting this area up as our base camp for now. We're going to hunker down. I like to have lots of clean water on hand, so I don't have to keep making trips back and forth. And sometimes jerry cans and gallon jugs are a little bit too valuable to just continually fill up with water. Often they're not really big enough, too, if you're going to stay at a place for a week or more. So take trash cans, but they're kind of delicate. You got to handle them right. There are plenty of trash cans in here. So what we're going to do is we have to dismantle it with the Shift+8, go to construction, and we want to actually deconstruct the simple furniture. If I do this one, it'll like do the table or bench next to us, but this will highlight, there it is, the trash can. Now I can grab it, similar to kind of how the solar panel worked, but there's one last step. So I'm currently wielding a trash can. It's important not to just stuff it into your backpack, even if you have room, which you might, because it's not that big, but you're not going to be able to carry it like that once you fill it with water, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to come up here, zip up to the coastline of the river, and fill this baby up. Okay, here we go. We want to be quick about this and not linger around a big body of water like this for too long. Some of the smaller lakes are safer. They could still have some nasty stuff in them, but these big rivers or large lakes, you want to avoid them, really, at most times, unless you know what you're doing. Don't go spending time near them. Don't go fishing in them. I am going to grab water because it's just a quick process, so I'm going to examine it, pour it into the trash can, and then I step away immediately. But yeah, we've got a bunch of 152 charges of water right now, which is good. I don't remember offhand what the steel jerry can holds, but this is definitely a big improvement. Like I said, as long as we're not trying to lug it around, we're going to be fine. So I'm going to use the auto walk to come right back to our little campsite. And let's just drop it here next to everything. You can also see that I've got the batteries set up and stuff. But we'll put the trash can down. There it is. And do we have some water purification tabs? We do. We have 12. So this is a mechanic in the game which has changed. In stable, it's much easier to purify water than it is in the experiment. It's very unrealistic in stable too, because one of these pills is going to basically purify all that water. Yeah, look, we've got over 150 charges of water, whatever, rations of water, I guess you should say. And it was all done with literally just the one pill. That was it. If we look now, we should, have 11? So it took no time. It was instantaneous, which you know in real life, if you've ever purified water using iodine tabs, is not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to let it sit for like 20 minutes, I think. So in the experimental branch, it's different. And I wouldn't have been able to do this. Maybe with 12, but I don't know. It would have been close there, and it would have taken time. So take advantage of the easy method of water purification when you're playing on stable, because once it gets updated, I'm sure they're going to change it. But either way, that's a nice, good source of water for our little camp, so we can start to work on the vehicles. I think what we'll do is pull this tractor away a bit here. Now that I can't siphon it, I'm just going to back it up and kind of straighten it out there so it's not looking so funky. All right. Whoops, wrong button. So let's go ahead and stop the driving. Now I've kind of surveyed the rest of these vehicles. None of them are really that great. The engines on most of them are either damaged or faulty, but they are all gasoline engines. Yeah, this one's both really damaged and faulty. Battery's shot. This is an interesting one, though. because it's not in bad shape. It's been repaired. That's why it's not 2 green pluses. This indicates like pristine factory quality. This is good, but it's been repaired, but it's faulty. So let's select the square with the engine on it. I'm interested in this one most of all. It's a little muscle car, so it's small in stature, but the engine is pretty beefy. It might actually be kind of a gas guzzler, but remember, being at this airport now, gas is almost not an issue too much for us. Diesel would be different, but yeah, there's no diesel here. So, all right, let's find the engine. There it is. So we are on the square with the engine. Instead of like hitting O or I, I'm going to hit M to mend, and that's going to highlight specifically the engine block. Oh, okay, and I can see over here, expired fuel filter. Hold on. Let's hit enter. Yeah. So if we had one automotive filter, we could do this because I have the tool necessary. We have the knowledge. It only takes mechanics level 1 to replace a fuel filter. That's not a bad fault. So I think we have just found our new candidate. This will be it, the low muscle car. In fact, with the fuel filter, whoops, let's try and start it up. Yep, she started up. It had fuel in it. A bit of a charge on the battery. Battery's not in great shape, but we'll just back it up. Takes a while to get used to the controls there, folks. Don't get frustrated with yourself if you aren't the best driver in this game. Because I'm also not the best driver. It's, oh, okay, so I just hit the... I'm trying to get it as close to this as possible so I don't have to move everything, but I just hit the back of this one. See, it says the muscle cars collides. It wasn't going very fast, though, so it wasn't, like, damaging, but we do need to pull forward here, and... Alright, I'm going to quit getting crazy. Let me just straighten this out and get it where I want it. Oh, man, that's better. Just took a little bit of maneuvering back and forth. Okay, we did it. So we've got our trash can filled with water. Hopefully no residue left in that old can, but I picked the clean one, I'm sure. Let's check with the charges here. 7,000, that's not bad. Capability is so much better now with all 3 of those batteries. Even the little one is contributing a bit too. Still no power from the reactor, but you know, if we get really desperate, like I said, we can hop in this thing, go search for a hose. For right now, I'm real interested in replacing that filter. Because although it does drive, I've mentioned it before, you want your engine especially to be in as good of condition as possible. Faulty air filter, or fuel filter, whatever it was, could lead to a stalled vehicle and could lead to a zombie horde overtaking us, and you can figure out the rest. So let's go ahead and disassemble this engine. That's right, we've got the extra one sitting here, and we're not going to be actually building one from the ground up. We could. It would be a bit more of an advanced tutorial thing, I think, to go for the ground up. So we're just going to disassemble this and butcher it like we would an animal. You hit Shift and B and disassemble. 40 minutes, that's actually not very long. And it will give you a list of what we want. Automotive filter, air filter. You know what, that motor oil? I'm glad I noticed that. Let me grab another trash can because I don't want that to go to waste. We're going to deconstruct simple furniture. We're going to grab and wield. And with that in my hand, so it's close. I think I could drop it next to me, but we'll go ahead and disassemble. Yes, 40 minutes. Just put it down and start working. Boom, not bad. Pour it into a container. Yeah, we'll salvage the motor oil. To do what with? I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Maybe it'll come in handy down the road. The crafting in this game is so extensive. You know, there's so many different recipes. And what you're seeing now is just a fraction, because I haven't learned all of them with this character, obviously. But either way, that's just a side note. So let's see. Should I drop it? Yeah, we'll drop the trash can with the motor oil right there. Let's go ahead and move all this stuff a little bit closer to us. Get it all organized into our piles. And we've got the air filter, automotive filter. I think we're probably close enough that I won't need to pick that up, but we can come back, highlight the engine block. O, no, not O, M to mend it. That immediately highlights the engine. Hit enter, and now the option is green. We can do this, so we shall. And it did it. You replace the expired fuel filter, and once we examine again, the engine is no longer faulty, so that's a beautiful thing. Let's see here. The car battery is not in great shape. It's holding a charge, though, and let's look at some of the other pieces or part squares on this vehicle. So the alternator is pretty bad. This is, if you're unaware, I'm not much of a car guy. In fact, a lot of what I know from vehicles I learned from this game. But the alternator is what will charge the battery as we drive it. And it's pretty critical. You want that. And we don't want it damaged. So what we're going to do is let's exit out and let's examine some of these other vehicles here. Let's find the engine block square. They're usually in the same place. The car alternator in this one, totally damaged. Can't use that one. I just noticed the battery in this car is actually decent, though. How did I miss that? Wheeled. Let's go ahead and slap that battery down, too. I'll put that in the back here. Boom, right there. So now we've got 4 batteries. Only 1 solar panel, but let's look for the alternator. There are differences between truck and car alternators, but there we go. So that one's in real good shape. And we're not required to like remove anything else before it. Sometimes if you want to like remove the seat, you have to remove the seat belt first, but this one we could just straight up take right out. All right, it's there on the ground. Pretty small item, so we can pocket that. We'll return, examine our muscle car. Haven't decided on a name for it yet, but maybe you guys can leave one down in the comments. Drop your suggestions. So let's select the alternator and hit O to remove. Boom. So we've got the ugly alternator out of there. We're going to install in the same square. I hit I, and there it is, car alternator. Now, since there's multiples around us, it's going to ask me which one I want to use. Unfortunately, with the alternator, it's not actually showing me the quality. I happen to know the one on the person is the good one that we want to use, but it's wise when you're removing parts sometimes to physically like drag the bad parts away so it's not within range of your mechanics working. Yeah, it's just one thing to do. Most items too, though, if it was like a frame, it would actually show the level of quality of the frame, so you could pick it reasonably. I don't know why the alternator doesn't. It should, but there we go. So in other words, it's not impossible to install the wrong part and then have to realize it and remove it immediately. It's something I've done before, so just have patience with this type of thing. Now, if we're looking around, yeah, these quarter panels, these are not in great shape, and this is going to be especially in the front of the vehicle. We're looking at the front here. This is the rear of the vehicle. We could definitely use an upgrade to those quarter panels, which a quarter panel, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's just like a sheet of metal. Let's see, I don't think we have one available. Let's look at the ingredients for quarter panels. Quarter panel, obviously we need the welding stuff. Yeah, just a sheet metal. Wait, I don't have a tool with drilling yet. Is it in my pile? Oh no. We don't have a drill? Is that the thing we've been missing? That could make things very difficult, though. Hold on, I might have to go through my stacks. It would have been, it's close enough that we should have spotted it. It's not essential right at this moment because we're not, no, I don't have a drill. Wow, that's unfortunate. That is going to make working on everything a bit more difficult. In fact, I'm kind of surprised it's the first time we've come to that and noticed it, but, well, let's just continue here. So if I wanted, I could remove the quarter panel, but then, yeah, I wouldn't be able to install one. So it's probably not smart to start removing them. Because this vehicle, actually, what we will go ahead and do is, let's see if I can install the cargo space. Do I need a drill for that? I do need a tool with drilling 2 or more. The arc welder is not plugged in currently because it would show that. And the welding wire is purple because I have it favorited, which let's take care of that. I've got a bunch of welding wire in this glass bottle for some dumb reason. And I'm going to go in my inventory and I'm going to unfavorite that bottle. It's just empty. I think that was I'm not sure what was in that, but all right. So either way, without a drill, yeah, we're going to run into a few obstacles, some very basic ones too. Installing things is going to be difficult. We could easily strip most of this, so we've got a decent amount of room here in the trunk. Yeah, both these sedan trunks are 200 liters in the back, way more than our good old friend, the tractor. So I think we're going to go ahead and switch over to this vehicle immediately. Yeah. I mean, I still want to work on it, replace some of the frames, which are really bad. Obviously, that quarter panel I mentioned. Look at the wheel here. You know what? Can we do that with the wheel? Let's see. We might be able to switch the wheels out real quick. Let's test that, because that's an important step. A lot of the times you will find vehicles that are wheel-less. So showing me the motor. Yeah, there's a wheel right there. Wheel's already installed. I think we're good. Yeah, let's try to remove the wheel. And then in the same square, we'll install another wheel. See, now it's showing me the different types. Like these two here are perfect. This one's a little bit banged up, and that's the one on the ground we just removed. So we'll just do that one. So essentially, we've got two perfect ones. Okay. Well, the rest of the wheels are in good shape, though. Yeah, one of them's been repaired, but that's okay. Windshields, we need several windshields. Quarter panels. Let's see, are we able to install windshields, or does that actually, if I just look up the word wind, that just requires the sheet of glass and us to remove the old one. So we could come over to this vehicle, check some of the glass, the windshield. Okay, there's a nice windshield. Any in the back? Oh yeah, there's a windshield right there. On this side, 3 nice pieces of glass. So those are at our feet. I'm not even going to try and pick them up. We'll just drag them into our pile. The blessed pile. Making sure to check. It's, 7 o'clock. There's a sheep near us. Hello, sheep. And we are getting a little hungry. We're peckish. So let's stop and just drink some tomato and orange juice, some cider. Good enough. All right, back to the vehicle. And let's see here. Windshields are important. All right, this one's kind of banged up. Let's take that one out. And in the same square, windshield. Whoops. Now, this will bring up a second menu and ask us the alignment, or actually, it's the cosmetic variant. So this is just superficial. It's not going to affect anything. It's not going to necessarily help keep things out. It will make it look a little bit funky if you just choose randomly here. So what was at the right front? Let's see. Let's just choose right front. Wherever it is. Actually, here's what there it is, front right. That's fine. Actually, I chose it, I think, correctly. Let's look at the car. Yeah, it looks fine. It could have been sticking weirdly. Let me show you, though, if you go into the menu, the shape command is a free command. It takes no time, no resources, and you can essentially turn stuff. So if I hit P here, and then I choose the windshield again, it brings up that same menu we just saw. So if you get it wrong, you can just reshape. You think of it as sculpting your vehicle almost. It takes no resources, no time. So it's free action, essentially. But it's looking pretty good. I'm actually really happy about this vehicle. This windshield is almost trashed, so let's get that out and install this one. Yeah, with a couple of cargo spaces in it. I don't even know where this one was. Let's just do rear left. Yeah, that's close enough. That one's going to look a little funky maybe, but we could definitely have the makings, the start of a really cool vehicle here. All right, still need a couple more windshields because some of these in the rear are kind of broken. It was rear horizontal. Yeah, it looks a little weird there. It's not showing the tire, but it is dark now. We've completely lost the light. So let's close it up. We are contained. I mean, yeah, the cab is closed. I'm not going to say it's totally safe because something really wanted to get in here. It could break through, tear this car apart. But we should be fine to sleep here. Problem is, it's still pretty early in the day. Are we tired? I don't think we're that tired. Let's pop on a glow stick and let's see if we can read something. I'm going to come over to our stack, look at some books. We got Alpha Male Quarterly, cookbook. Let's read about dancing. This will improve our dodging, which is always a good thing. So I'm just going to stand here, read till about 11. There we go. Probably stayed up a little bit too late reading, but let's drop the books again. Whenever you read, you always pick up the books that you read, so I'm going to drop them right back in our pile. And for safety's sake, I'm going to drop this active glow stick. Monsters and things will be attracted to the light, so if I were to sleep near a big city or inadvertently sleep near a horde of zombies I didn't realize was nearby, they could see that light and come over here, obviously. So you want to get rid of those. Drop them far off. And there we go. It's time to sleep. We're a little bit peckish. We're still hydrated, but we'll just be extra hungry in the morning. So shift +4 to sleep. We will definitely save the game. Another note, I have my auto save turned off just for recording purposes, so it's not like stopping in the middle of, each scene and stuff. But definitely keep it on for you, and make sure to use quick save too. It's a good command to learn. We'll sleep we're only lightly weary. We have a mental tiredness. We'll do 7 hours. That's a reasonable, I think, compromise. Good morning, everybody. We have survived another day. It is day 64. I can't believe how little time has passed in our playthrough so far, but we have accomplished quite a bit, I would say, in the series. Yeah. We've survived, and that's really the ultimate accomplishment here in Cataclysm for sure. But let's do something before we set off to explore anymore, and we want to make sure that this tank is full. So I'm gonna have to wheel around because the gas tanks are somewhere. Yeah, let me go park next to the airport's gasoline tanks. All right, looks pretty close. There we go. Kill the engine. Stop driving. Very good. So I believe these are the gas pumps. Yes, gasoline. All right, fill it right into the muscle car. So we emptied it out. Oh, it almost filled it completely. Let's go ahead and top it off. I gotta walk around because I didn't leave myself any room to squeeze in there. There we go. Use the pump, pour it into the muscle car. Okay, wait. No, I had the wrong option. There we go. So there's still some left in the pump, still a lot left in the pump there. But the car is totally full. It looks like it doesn't have the wheel. That's because they put the wrong shape in, but I don't really care. Kind of looks funny. Yeah. Well, either way, of course, we need to go start a fire. We're definitely craving fire, but we're also a little bit warm, so I think it's time to hop into the muscle car. The cities await us. The loot is our future. We can survive. We can get into farming. We can set up a camp with NPCs. We could even mutate ourselves, install bionics. These are systems, some of which I've never even explored myself yet, because the game is so difficult I hardly ever survive to the winter. But I could go on and on with the tutorial series endlessly. However, I think that episode 10 is probably a good place to end it. Still much more for you to learn, plenty more for me to teach too, but like I said, it could go on forever. Now what I will do is I'll keep this character. I think Antoine Rock, it's too solid of a name to give up on just yet. Maybe we'll turn him into a full playthrough at some point, but personally I do prefer mods in my kind of playthroughs. Speaking of which, I do have a ton of other Cataclysm content, so if you want to move on and just see something for entertainment purposes, or you will learn things too as you watch some of my other content, I'm sure of it. I still learn things every day playing this game, especially when I'm streaming it live over on Twitch or coming up with videos and reading comments and stuff on YouTube. So definitely continue to check out the Cataclysm. Stick with it too. It's a really fun and engaging game, which you will get literally thousands of hours at. I'm honestly looking forward to the winter when it gets cold and snowy, I hope we get a couple snow days so I can just lock myself up and play Cataclysm all day long. But once again, guys, thank you so much. I hope you've learned something from the series. Also, big shout out to my friend at Patreon, /MVC. If you want more tutorial content on some really great specific button commands, check out his playlist. That'll be linked down below too. And once again, I will see you guys on the next one.